Hey, hello, and welcome. Chris Robinson here, Executive Vice President, Maxwell Leadership Certified Team. I want to thank you so much for taking a little bit of time to join me here today in your busy day. And so, whether it's afternoon for you, morning, depending on where you are on the planet, I want to thank you so much for joining in with me today. If you could, real quick, I see a couple people that are in the chat there already. If you could, type in where you're watching from to let us know where you're watching from. We know that we have people watching from all around the world. Want to say hello to you to make sure that we see you out there. But today we're going to continue on in the 15 invaluable laws of growth. I started just a couple weeks ago to walk you through 15 weeks. We're going to be going through 15 weeks each and every single week. I'm going to be sharing with you one of the laws from the 15 Laws of Leadership. If you do not have this book, you can pick up this book at our bookstore, maxwellleadership.com/15 laws. This is a book that you absolutely want to have. I truly believe it is the personal growth book that you have to have. I'm fortunate today because right now, as I look online here, I want to say hello to Jennifer in Port St. Lucie there. Looks like we have Leona there as well too. Welcome. Thank you so much for being on. I'm excited today because as being the Vice President of Maxwell Leadership Certified Team, I've talked to you about our coaches, speakers, and trainers that are out there all around the world. But today, I'm fortunate to have some of those members here in studio with me. And so if I could, let me have you come on up here real quick. And we've got some team members there from all around the world. And we have over 50,000 coaches worldwide. But today in studio with me here, I have some of our members here that are spending the day with myself and Roddy Galbraith. Come on over to this side here. And they are here spending the day shooting video, actually learning from Roddy and I, getting to connect with one another, and really just helping take their business to the next level. And so if you're interested in finding out more about how you can become one of the coaches out there, you can always go to leadwithjohn.com, and we would love to have one of our program advisors reach out to you and tell you more about it. So I'm gonna get to teaching, so I'm gonna have you guys step off, and then I'm gonna go to work. I'm gonna go to work here. All right, a few more people jumped in there. Brenda, welcome. Great to see you on there. Vanita, great to see you there as well too. Leona is from Colorado. Welcome. Robert, good to see you all the way from Paraguay. I love Paraguay. All right, so let's dive into it today. As we begin to talk about the 15 laws, I want to continue on with chapter 3, which is law number 3, which is the law of the mirror. The law of the mirror says that you have to see value in yourself and add value to yourself. You have to see value in yourself and then add value to yourself. And we talk about looking in the mirror while doing this. And this is really about you in your own personal growth. And let's go back to the word potential. You know, in the very first week, I talked to you about the word potential, but let me give you a reminder of what potential actually means as we talk about this positive, optimistic word. But the word potential means having the capacity to become or develop into something in the future. Having the capacity to become or develop into something in the future. And each and every single one of us have that potential inside of our lives, but it's our job in order to build that potential. And what it really starts with when it comes to building that is taking a look in the mirror and our self-esteem. Now, I know when I first read this chapter and I thought, oh my goodness, John is talking about self-esteem. And when I think about self-esteem, what I immediately did was I equated it to being in the 7th or 8th grade. And as an adult, I didn't immediately think, is self-esteem really that important? But you see, self-esteem is the single most significant key to a person's behavior. It's the single most significant key to a person's behavior. And so you have to have a great self-esteem to become the person that you want to become. Now, I love this quote by Jim Rohn that he says this year. He says, you have to understand the difference between the views of self-esteem. But listen to this. He says that if you place a small value on yourself, rest assured the world will not raise it. Now, think about this. When I heard that, and when I was thinking about self-esteem, I thought, oh my goodness, It is one of the most critical things that we can develop in our lives is a positive self-esteem. And so today what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin to give you some things to build that positive self-esteem. And we're going to start with the first thing that we can do to build the self-esteem. So if you're taking notes, great. Hope that you have a notepad and pen. I'm going to give you a lot of information in a short amount of time here. If you are in the chat, hey, type the notes in the chat so that others can benefit from what it is that you're learning here. But be sure to dive in and engage. Don't just sit there and watch. I know you might be driving. I know you might be, walking, whatever the case may be. But get out your notepad, get out your pen, get out your note app, because I'm getting ready to give you some keys in order to build that self-esteem. The first key is that we have to guard our self-talk. Guard our self-talk. Now, in the book, John talks about self-talk. And, here's what we have to understand about self-talk is that we tend to believe what we say about ourselves. We tend to believe what we say about ourselves. I think of a speaker that I heard many years ago, Dr. Venus Opal Reese said this. He says, if I said to you what you say about yourself, would we still be friends? If I said to you what you say to yourself, would we still be friends? Now, in the chat, real quick for me, I want you to type in the chat, will we be friends if I said to you what you say to yourself? Let me see. Do I have any friends out there? Do I have any friends out there at all? In the chat, let me see. Do I have any friends out there? Would we be friends if I said to you what you say to yourself? Now, some of you out there are saying no. Some of you out there are saying yes. But our self-talk is so important. Now, when John talks about this, listen to this quote right here. He says that by the time you're 17 years old, you've heard no, you can't, an average of 150,000 times. You've heard yes, you can about 5,000 times. Now think about this. When you're 17 years old, by the time you're 17, now many of you that are watching this right now today are beyond 17, we should say. Now think about this compounding over the years. By the time you're 17 years old, you've heard no, you can't, an average of 150,000 times. You've heard yes, you can about 5,000 times. That's 30 no's for every yes. That makes for a powerful belief of I can't. And so it's up to us to guard that self-talk. And when we're guarding that, we want to make sure that we're changing those thoughts into a positive thoughts. Now, I know some of you may look at speaking bad to yourself as a motivator. In fact, one time I was speaking at an event about self-talk, and a gentleman comes up to me afterwards and says, Chris, I kind of disagree with you about, how we talk to ourselves. I talk bad to myself because it motivates me. So I call myself stupid. I call myself an idiot. And I just simply looked at him and smiled and said, well, how's that working out for you? He paused in that moment. He goes, not that great in life right now. But yet he was so convinced that talking bad to himself was a motivator for him. But when all reality, when he looked at the results that he had, when he looked at who he had become and what he was becoming, it wasn't really serving him. And so we have to be the number one motivator in our lives by what we say. So be careful and guard your self-talk. Guard your self-talk. The second thing that we have to do if we want to build that self-image, this is a good one here. We have to stop comparing. We have to stop comparing. Now, this is difficult because many of you right now are watching this on Facebook or YouTube, and this is a hot spot for comparison. I mean, this is the hotbed for comparison because right now, as you're trying to watch this, somebody is posting about how great their life is in some sunny tropical place when it is snowy, cold, and nasty where you're at right now. And you're starting to compare, well, why do they get to go and I don't get to go? Why am I stuck in the house? And here's what happens when we begin to compare. There's only two things that happen when you begin to compare. The first thing that happens is that you look at someone so far ahead of you that you begin to get discouraged and you begin to think about quitting, whatever that goal, dream, or desire that you may have. Or we look at somebody that's so far behind us that we say, well, hey, I'm doing a whole lot better than Joe is doing. So we become complacent and we remain the same. But if we want to grow our self-esteem, it can't be based around what others are doing on social media. It's got to be based around you looking in the mirror, looking at your life and saying, hey, If I'm going to do any comparison, I want to compare to me and myself only. And am I better today than I was yesterday? Am I better today than I was last week? Am I better today than I was last month? But we have to stop comparing if we want to build that self-belief. We have to stop that. We have to stop. It's not serving you. It's not serving you in a great capacity. The next thing that we need to do if we want to build this self-esteem is we have to move beyond our self-limiting beliefs. We all have a belief about something. And some of those beliefs, whether they're true or false, are holding you back from who it is that you want to become. Now, what are some of those beliefs that I'm talking about here? And we all have them in some capacity. We all have them in some capacity. When you drive past a home that's 10 times the size of yours, do you say, why not me? Or do you say, I'll never be able to have anything like that? It's a choice. And so if you want to move beyond your self-belief, that starts with creating a different story in the areas that you create a negative story in the first place. You see, neither story is true, but if you're going to create a story and a belief, it might as well be a belief that serves you. If you're going to create a story or a belief, it might as well be one that will serve you. Now, I think about a belief because we all create stories. And again, it doesn't matter if they're true or false. That's just what we do in the absence of information. I think about Mark Cole, who had his assistant call me, Kimberly, who's his executive partner, and I serve as the vice president of the company. Mark Cole's the CEO and the president. And Kimberly calls me on a Sunday afternoon and says, Mark wants to meet with you tonight. It's a Sunday night. And Mark he's going to fly down to Florida from Atlanta. He wants to meet with you. And I said, great. Could you give me some context so I can kind of prepare what it is that I'm getting into? She says, nope, I don't have any context, but Mark wants to meet you, the CEO, the president of the company. He wants to meet with you on a Sunday night. He's calling you at Sunday. He's flying down specifically to meet with you. Now, in that moment, I hang up the phone and I have a choice. I get to create a story. Now, do I create a positive one or do I create a negative one? Now, some of you might create the story that, oh my goodness, Mark Cole, my boss, my leader, the person I'm working with, is coming down to let me go. This person's coming down to move me to Atlanta from West Palm Beach. Oh, Lord, don't let that happen, right? Look, he's coming down here. I can create any story that I want. But in the absence of not having a story, what do? We create a story which creates a belief. And so I decided in that moment that, hey, I'm going to create a positive story. I cannot wait for Mark to get down here. He is going to show up with a supercar for me. I've been waiting all this time for him to show up with it for me. Oh, I cannot wait for Mark to get down here. He's got a brand new Rolex for me that I've been waiting for a long time. Look, neither story is true, but if in the absence of a story, create a positive one versus a negative one, because that's what limits our belief. Is that the stories that we create. So whenever you have a belief that you're holding on to, you may have had a belief your entire life that you've held on to because of something that your parents said to you, something that your early childhood children have said to you. But that belief may or may not be true. But you've got to ask yourself, am I going to believe that story or am I going to create a different story? So if you want to build that self-esteem, we have to move beyond our self-limiting beliefs. If we want to build our self-esteem, we have to add value to others. Now, I've talked about adding value to others time and time again. And guess what? For a long period of time, you're going to hear me talk about adding value to others, because if we want to grow, the best way to feel better about your circumstances, your situation, about what you're going through in life is simply to go and help someone else. There is nothing to get you out of your own way by helping someone else get out of their own way. So if you're ever in that down place, if you're ever in that place where you're having thoughts that are negative, hey, look, how could you go and add value to someone else? How can you help someone else? It could be simple. Simple things. We don't have to go out and we don't have to give millions of dollars to somebody, we can simply go out. For some of you right now, you can go shovel somebody's driveway because you're stuck at home right now. You can go shovel somebody's driveway. You can go throw some salt down for them. You can go, it doesn't matter. How can you add value to someone today? And when you begin to consistently add value, what's going to happen is your value will increase and you will find more joy and fulfillment. Here's the next thing that we can do if we want to grow our self-esteem is that we have to practice a small discipline daily in a specific area of your life. It's our habits. It's our habits and our disciplines that are the most powerful morale builders in our lives. But it starts with doing something daily. Every single day that ends in day, are you creating or exercising a habit that's going to help you become the person you want to become? So it could be as simple as you looking in the mirror and creating the habit of saying, I am enough today. I am capable today. I am wise today. I am strong today. I am healthy today. It's a simple habit as that to build that self-esteem. But what disciplines do you have in your life as we talk about, the disciplines? What disciplines do you have that are helping build your esteem? What disciplines do you have that are helping tear down your esteem? Next thing that we want to do if we want to build that self-esteem is that we have to celebrate small victories. We have to celebrate small victories. You see, once you practice a specific discipline, then you want to celebrate that small victory. Now, this is the way that I get through creating a discipline. Oftentimes what people do, and many of us have done at the beginning of this year, is we've set a 21-day goal, we've set a 30-day goal, we've set a 60-day goal or a 75-day goal if you're doing a 75 hard or a 21-day fast. And, the easiest way to get through those particular programs or those particular goals is simply by going one day at a time. You see, not looking at, I've got 20 days to go. You see, you don't have 20 days to go. All you have is the rest of today. You don't have 20 days to go. All you have is the rest of today. Can you implement the discipline today? Can you withstain from the thing today? And if you can do that, then celebrate that. Hey, I did it today. I did it today. Celebrate that. Not looking at 74 days to go, not looking at 60 days to go, not looking at 90 days to go, but celebrate the one day that you did do it. And oftentimes we let those small victories go by and we don't give them the life that they need. But when you celebrate those small victories, what you're doing is you're programming yourself for success. Every single time that you say, yes, I made a day, you're programming for success. Every single time that you miss it, and then you go, I've got this many days to go, you're programming for failure. Choose what you're going to embrace there. The next thing that we want to do if we want to build our self-esteem is that we have to take responsibility for our life. You can maintain a positive self-image, but only you can maintain it, right? You can pick up this image from videos. You can pick up this image from photos. You can pick up this image by what you're listening to, by what you're reading, but it requires you to retain it. You have to take responsibility for your life. You see, if you look in the mirror and do not see a capable, worthy, fully valuable person, you need to change either the reflection or get a new mirror. It's up to you of what that image is going to look like. It's up to you in order to build that image. In order to do that, we've got to look at the principles. We've got to ask the questions in the law of the mirror. Now, I hope that you found that helpful here today. I will be back next week for week 4 as we talk about the law of reflection, which is taking time to pause, allows time for growth. And so we're going to be talking about some reflection questions, how you can take some time to reflect and take some good experience out of and valuable lessons out of the experiences that you have in life. If you do not have the book, pick it up, maxwellleadership.com/15 laws. And then, of course, if you want to find out more information about being involved in a community of like-minded people that are out there making a difference in people's lives, by speaking, coaching, and training, and getting the resources to do that, be sure to check out leadwithjohn.com, and we would love to have a program advisor reach out to you for more information. Hey, I hope you got value out of this today. Thank you so much for being on with me today. Have a great day. Thanks a lot, everybody. Bye-bye.